Alrighty, welcome back. So I've got a big trip planned for this bike, end of June, start of July. It's going to cover off about 10,000 kilometers, fairly big trip. And with that, we're going from winter up to a warmer climate and back down into winter. So if you're in Australia, you can work that out pretty easily where I'm off to. So I've got to get a few things sorted to cover off on the climate side of things, but also I'm traveling by myself, so I need to carry a lot of tools to service that as well. And going in and out of places, there's nowhere on this bike to securely just sort of hang your helmet without getting something like this. So it's a helmet lock, and all it is really a combination carabiner with a T-bar. So this is all set to 0 at the moment, lifts out. The old Yamaha that I had a key operated hook on the side. You could just hang your helmet off, but these don't. And because the RI helmets, the double D clamps are really close to the side of the helmet rather than in the middle. Like I've got a shark helmet and it's in the middle. It's a little bit easier to grab. So there's a few places on here now, especially once I've got the luggage protection on here, that I can put it anywhere I want, really. Ideally, I'll put it on this side, but it's pretty simple. I'll spin the camera around and show you on here. So helmet lock, T-bar, goes through the D-rings. Then the carabiner can go through any part of the bike kit that you can lock. So I can put that there, and then we're good to go. Helmet's nice and secure. Come back, put the combination in, unlock it, and we're good to go. There's really nowhere else on this bike, unless you have to take your helmet with you all the time, which is a little bit annoying. Yep, and then off we go again. So it is something extra that you have to keep in your pocket, but that's just one of the little things. So with these, you can set your own combination. You just need to hold that lever across, set it to what you want. I'll just go 9,009 for the moment. Let it go. Spin the combination around, and she's nice and locked. So we'll go back to 9,009. And unlocked again. So it has to be in the unlocked position to change the combination, so no one can just come along and change it on you. But yeah, you can set it to what you want. Find somewhere on your bike that's going to mount up nice. I'm thinking off the back. The back rack here will go fairly well. I could even put it around the crash bars at the front. So there's a few options, especially once you've got some racks on your bike. And I'll show you the next thing that we're going to be looking at. All right, so one of the other things that you need to be able to do when you're out by yourself is be able to fix a flat. Now, the Desert X has tubeless tyres, good and bad. I'm not going to go into the pros and cons of tubeless tyres. But one thing that you do need is a little emergency tyre repair kit. Now this one here has the CO2 canisters and the tyre plugs and that sort of thing. Now I do have tyre mushrooms that can go inside the tyre to fix the tyre properly, but in doing that you need to take the tyre off the rim. And I have tyre spoons on order, those haven't arrived yet, which I'll be taking with me just to that. So if I'm in the middle of nowhere and I see a nail or a screw or something go through the tyre, I'm just going to use this to plug it up to get to the next spot. So CO2 to pump it up, but that might not be enough. So what options do you have there? You can go for the cheap and nasty little 12 volt one here. You can even get modified versions of these which are nice and compact as a way of inflating it without much effort. The plug for Desert X is underneath the seat. This is still fairly bulky though, and even the modified versions, it's still a little bit of a bulky unit. So I went with something a little bit different as opposed to the modified one, which is this unit here. It's the Crank Brothers Click HV, which is high volume. This one's good for 110 PSI. It also comes in a high pressure, which is probably a lot better for a road bicycle. Now it's going to take a lot of volume to pump these tyres up. We're still looking around 30 odd PSI to get to highway pressure. So with the help of a CO2 cartridge, if I'm in a hurry, I can use that to pump it up. If not, I can sit there all day if I need be. Clicks out like that, and off we go. So I'm going to show you now just how long it takes to pump up the rear tyre of this bike just by using the hand pump. So this hand pump's good in that it's only 130 grams. I can stash it anywhere. It even come with a little... So it even come with the drink bottle mount for the push bikes, which if I needed to, I could mount somewhere under the rack, but I'm not going to, I was going to put it in one of the bags. These come in a few different options. This is the high volume one, as I said before. You can also get it in a high pressure. And this one also has a gauge. So you got to give it a good little flick out. So there we go there. So we have a tyre gauge inbuilt and the option of a Presta or Schrader valve. Obviously these motorbikes run Schrader valves. And you can also get it with a CO2 canister inbuilt just to give you that quick burst, but it makes it a little bit longer, that version. So I thought this was a good compromise. So we open it up, it's magnetized, and we're good to go. Crank that off. So let's see how long it takes to pump up the rear tyre. I'm just going to take the valve out, let the tyre out, and we'll go from there. Okay, so just before we start, I just want to see what this gauge reads the tyre at. So I have to stand up to read that because I can't see sideways. I have to look through the exhaust a bit. It's reading 35 PSI. Yep, so I'll take the valve out. And as you can see here, it just literally clicks on and you can pump away. Like that, like so. Disconnect it, unscrew it, and you're good to go. So we'll take the valve out now. If you haven't got yourself a decent valve removal tool, I highly suggest you do. Another thing I need to get some spare valves. All right, so completely flat now. I'll put the valve back in. Screw the stem back on with the gauge. And I'll start a timer on here. All right, ready, go. Now I'm mounted on, and we'll start pumping. A little bit more. Alrighty, we're there. Just over 6 minutes. It's a little bit warm. It's actually pretty hot to touch on the edge, but I think that worked all right. All right, so I think the hand pump worked out pretty good, especially with the option later on of using the CO2 canisters if I need to. But that was 6 minutes to get it back up to the pressure that I have while fully loaded with gear on a dirt track. So not too bad. The downfall with this pump, specifically this pump, is it is roughly the same price as a modified electric pump. So you just have to weigh up what would you rather, to sit back and let the pump do the work, carry a bit more weight, or if you've got a bit of time, this and a couple of CO2 canisters. So it's a bit of a personal decision if you want to go down the route of an electric pump, a little portable one, or a hand pump. That is entirely up to you. Haven't heard of too many high quality hand pumps failing, but there have been a few issues with electric pumps that I have experienced in the past. So in an emergency, if this fails, I still have the CO2 canisters that will pump up the tyre enough to get me to where I need to go. So those 3 canisters in there are enough for like 2 full refills of that tyre. So it all comes down to where you're going, what's available to you, and what you prefer. So with that, have a few other things coming for this, especially for navigation aids. I'm not 100% sold on just using your mobile phone as a navigation aid. I've experienced that sort of thing in the past, especially mobile phone and just having paper maps. Out of the trips that I've done in the past, the mobile phone has failed 100% of the time. Hence why I have a new phone after my last trip. Alrighty, I'll see you in the next one.